Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervase Charmley, and this is another Cumbrian church. This is the church of St Andrew, Crosby Garrett. There's been a place of worship here for over 1,000 years. High on a hill, on the edge of the village, villages down in the valley, a sensible place to live. The church on the hill, solid stone. You may perhaps hear the wind buffeting the outside of the building. The church has been here for hundreds of years. I'm sure it's quite safe. I'm sure there's been worse storms. I mean, it's not actually a storm out there, it's just we're on top of a hill and there's a bit of wind. So we'll have a look around. As I say, this is a location, probably there was a pagan place of worship here before the church. This is because we think this because the hill is called Arklow, which means sacrifice hill. And if it's the place of sacrifice, well, could it have been a pagan shrine? Not that it had been taken over by the priests and say, oh, you see, our God is the same as your gods. Rather, it's, we take over your temple site. You can't worship there anymore. You've got to come and worship with us. So we'll have a look around and point out some of the interesting features of this building. So as usual, we start at the west end. Looking east, you've got a single aisle on the north side, and that's quite common. If you've got a single aisle, it's normally on the north side because the south side is the side that gets the most light, as right now in the morning. And so if it's extended to the north, then you whack on a north chapel. You can see up there these columns. This is a Norman arcade, 12th century. Very, very good carving, actually. We're just at the back here, first of all. This looks like an old font. The current font is that one. During the Commonwealth, there was a Presbyterian ministry here. We're far enough north here in Cumbria that Scottish-style Presbyterianism could be relatively easily imported. And so if you come here in the 1650s, you would have found a Presbyterian church, Puritan ministry, and of course at the Restoration, the Puritan ministry then is kicked out and the former Anglican rector restored. You see, this is it's a simple building, two cell. You've got obviously this aisle has been extended and rebuilt perhaps even in the 19th century with a roof like that. During the building of the Settle to Carlisle Railway, the graveyard was used for the burial of workers, navvies as they were known, who died, were killed in accidents and such like. You see, here we are now, the Norman carving. That's a bear, the head of a bear. On this side we have... Oh. I'm pretty sure that is precisely what it looks like, which is somebody's bottom. Medieval artists could be a little bit rude, particularly the north side. Here we've got a man's face. I don't think he's a green man, but he could be. You can see there with his hood. And here we have, it's just a decorative scroll. I suspect the other one is really. But no, the other one, still, there we are. These ones are much more just sort of floriated scroll work. Now this is a squint down here. The squint. It allows people sitting in this aisle to see the high altar. More to the point, when this was the North Chapel, it would allow the priest to see the elevation of the host at the altar. Remember, medieval Catholics, the important thing is seeing the elevation of the host. It's not communicating, not taking the elements. And this would allow people to see the elevation if there was just the Mass being said at the high altar, or if there's Mass being said at the side altar, the priest would be at the side altar would be able to coordinate with the priest at the high altar, and they both elevate the host at the same time. Big, solid building. I've got these nice, big 15th century windows. The pulpit's quite nice. It's a nice Victorian, of course, but it is quite a good one. Yes, Joseph Bousfield was the Puritan rector here, Puritan minister here. He was ejected in 1662 because the former vicar, Mr. Maliver, was former rector rather, Mr. Maliver was still alive and he was restored. But there were men from Crosby Garrett who fought in Cromwell's armies. Up there above, you'd have had paintings. In the Middle Ages, there'd have been a dome up there. You can just about see evidence of some writing up there from post-medieval Reformation era wall paintings. You've got words painted on the walls. And that looks like the Ten Commandments. Straight through into the chancel. This is extended in the 13th century, as happens in so many cases. 13th century, not much stained glass here, and it's pretty much, with one or two exceptions, it's very largely a matter of armorial glass, the armorial bearings of the men who have been or the families who have been lords of the manor. There's the vestry door, Dorothy Bird, and here we have taken to the memory of the following persons. Elizabeth, the wife of the Reverend William Bird, daughter of the Reverend James Lamb, Vicar of Appleby, died 23rd of October 1731, aged 38. Reverend William Bird is rector of this parish. Crosby Garrett, he died 1716. And succeeded, it would seem, by Reverend James Bird, who was his son. And yes, various, you've got these, and then he was succeeded by his son, William Bird, who died in 1822. So it's quite common to have this sort of succession, to the point that the rectory here would have been regarded almost as the possession of the Bird family. And there we are looking at the beautiful views from the churchyard here, just because we are so high up on the top of the hill. Nice 13th century piscina, trefoil head, deep bowl. That looks like the old communion table that might have been used in the Commonwealth days. Matthew Thompson, JPDL of Stowbars Hall, so local, and it's set up by the Lady of the Manor, so he would perhaps be the Lord of the Manor, and patron of the benefices of Crosby Garrett, and it's a typical neoclassical type image. You notice a bricked up window. Victorians have taken all the plaster of the walls, which here allows for the sight of the remains of an old arch, a smaller arch than the current one, which suggests something. It may even have been an Anglo-Saxon arch with that. And they've also exposed this window. Little old window, again, Anglo-Saxon, golly, yes, there are Anglo-Saxon elements of this building. So that is rather fun. That should probably be where the rood screen had been put in. And you can see you've just got this one, is it just one or two? You've just got the one figurative stained glass window, prepare ye the way of the Lord, John the Baptist preaching, and then beside it you've got the roll of honour. So it's a very, very interesting little building. On top of a hill here. When we go outside, we're going to be very, very windswept. I don't know how much of what I say is going to be able to be heard when we're outside. Look at that nice 13th century chancel arch. Quite low, because it's quite a low building, because you do want to be able to have sort of the wind not batter it too much. But there we are, inside at Crosby Garrett, St Andrews. And so here we are outside at Crosby Garrett. I normally like to get a better image of the church in the background here, but the wind is such that I think that and also the hill is such that this is about the best I can get. This is the East End, obviously, with your triple lancet, although that's a Victorian addition, alteration. And quite fitting, I suspect, that what happened was that in the post-Reformation era they'd just put a big square window in there and the Victorians didn't like it. So we'll have a look around the outside now of this ancient building and point out again the usual salient features. and try not to get blown away. You actually approach St Andrews up a winding path up the side of the hill. This, of course, as you can see, there's the path, the winding path. This is, of course, quite necessary because it's quite a steep hill, at least on the village side. There is a road up the side and a car park out the back, which is very useful for those of us less able to walk. And here we have, see the solid ancient stone of that chancel. Of course, that is the chancel of the newer parts at this point. The weathercock, and there we have the chancel. There's a porch. Go up here around. Nice big porch. No windows though, which is a bit difficult for visitors, as it means you've either got to have the outer door open all the time, or you go in, you open the inner door, and then close the outer door, which is what I've done. Now, around the west end. Trees beside me. Lovely setting, big graveyard, and north side clearly has been rebuilt in the 19th century. Obviously there wasn't originally, but it would not have been quite so enormous. Lovely big graveyard, and I'm being blown away here. It's going to be the best day to go to a church on top of a hill in deepest Cumbria. Well, it's a lovely setting. Obviously that's some memorial. It just gives some idea of the sort of Celtic cross. The background here of the church. So beautiful setting, and it is a relatively sunny morning. So you see the hills go on forever, as it were. Well, no, actually the hills are. We've got this great valley and the hills beyond, and there's the church, St Andrews, Crosby Garrett. Lovely building, very ancient, and it's not that easy to find actually, because it's like oh, there goes a bunny rabbit. I startled one of the local rabbits. Never mind, startled me as well. So there we have it, St Andrews, Crosby Garrett. And so there we have it, Crosby Garrett. I'll have to be quick in case the camera gets blown over again, because it did, thankfully not while I was filming. It's a beautiful church, as I say. It has this Puritan heritage. There was a Puritan ministry here during the Commonwealth. There was a minister ejected here, and these fells, these hills, they bred and still do a hardy race, hardy people who are solid in their opinions. And so when the Puritan minister was ejected, he held meetings round about where he could. Well, thank you for watching. Good to share this fascinating place with you, and hope you enjoy the video, and God bless you and keep you until next time. And I shall just finish here before I get another great gust of wind to blow the camera over. Thank you very much. God bless you and keep you.